You know, it is kind of like two sides of a coin, isn't it? I mean, while the western part of the country is feeling like fall this first day of October, yay, we're still looking at a hot week ahead for the eastern part.
Yeah, we really are. Currently, the data shows that October could be milder than normal across a large portion of the U.S., and that could have a big impact on how much you spend on your fall boots, Reynolds, your sweaters, things like that. Here to discuss all this is meteorologist and business weather analyst Paul Walsh. Good morning, Paul. Good to see you.
Good morning, Kelly.
All right, so how big of an impact are we talking about with weather on the fall sales?
Huge. And every year when there's a transition, retailers make a big bet that they time it exactly right with the amount of inventory that they put out and the kind of products they put out. So when you have temperatures in October in Chicago that are in the 80s, that's really bad news for them because we don't buy fall products based on the calendar. We buy fall products when it feels like fall. And so what ends up happening is sales don't happen, the inventory starts to pile up, and then over time, then those retailers have to start marking the prices down, in some cases dramatically, to move the products.
Oh, Paul, how will that, springing forward, how is that going to make a big difference possibly in the holiday season in terms of spending habits for people?
Well, what's going to happen is probably when we get to the end of October, this early warmth is going to start to force retailers to take deep markdowns. But when we move in November into December, it looks like it's going to be more seasonally cold. Therefore, I think my recommendation is if you're going to buy fall goods, buy them in the end of October, maybe even winter goods, because there may be some pretty decent deals.
Yeah, I forgot to buy my Christmas tree at the end of last year's holiday season, Paul. Shame on me. So let's talk about the retailers, because I know they use the weather information to help manage their inventory as well as the prices, right?
Yeah, they sure do. And the weather really is becoming more and more important because of the fact that we all get our weather, or most of us, or a lot of us, from our mobile phones when they're not watching you guys, of course, on the Weather Channel. Therefore, the impact of the weather and the weather forecast is becoming more of a significant factor. So what businesses are doing is they're using the data that comes out that tells them what the weather is, and they're comparing that to actual sales. They're measuring when the weather is going to drive sales, and then they use forecasts to predict what we're all going to be wanting and needing. And so there's this sort of connection between the weather forecast, and then how businesses or retailers are managing their business. It's pretty interesting, actually.
Paul, kind of an audible for you here, and this is one I just think off the top of my head. If you have slow sales and you end up having a surplus of say, fall items, when you get into winter, could that mean that you could have some extra sales that could really benefit the consumer?
That's right, Reynolds, and that's really the key message here this morning for folks is that when you see this kind of unusually mild weather in early October, that really is a signal that you may be seeing some pretty decent deals for fall apparel when we get into the second half of October. So shop till you drop when the time, end of October.
He is the man. Paul Walsh always makes the complex understandable. No one better than Paul Walsh. Paul, thanks so much for your time. Well, folks, we still have a lot to talk